Okay, so this is actually team 3 on the Long River game. We are missing a couple students, and so both professors from Brazil and the U.S. have stepped in, and our names are on our blocks here that you can see. We are missing the Alyssa, are you here? The Fish and Game rep? Yeah, you're here. I'm sorry.
I am here, yeah.
Yeah, it's the regional water supplier is missing. Okay, I think everybody else is here. So we're only missing one because your 2 professors have stepped in. Okay, so because of that, you know, to get to majority vote, you needed 4 plus the governor. The governor is a required vote and the mediator does not vote. Okay, and so because we have lower participation, we have a missing role here that we could not fill. You only have to get to 3. Okay, you can't get a majority if one of your people of the 4 are missing. So 3 is now the required vote. Okay. All right, mediator, I'm going to mute myself. And now Dr. Eduardo from Brazil and myself are playing the game inside the game.
All right, thank you very much. I will be your mediator today. So first, very quickly, just the ground rules. Please only speak when you've been given the floor. When you want to speak, just raise your hand in Zoom. I think you can all find the button. Secondly, please keep your points as succinctly as possible. No ad hominems, so no personal attacks. Thirdly, you are, of course, here to represent your own organization. That's the role you'll be playing. So please try to advance the interests of the group you're repping today. And finally, you will therefore be responsible for taking the agreement back to your organizations and making sure that all is in accordance. So let's just quickly take like 30 seconds to a minute to introduce the organization that you're representing here today, and just very briefly tell us what your goals for today will be. Is there anyone who would like to start? Deafening silence. No one? Or am I just not seeing any raised hands? Ah, yes, the irrigation, please.
Yes, hello everyone. I will be representing the irrigators group today. I have been tasked with securing an agreement that will address the pressing issues facing the Long River watershed that is both economically and environmentally sustainable. We are open to compromise, but we'll be stressing the continued importance of agriculture to the area, which will be our priority.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone would like to follow up? Yes, the State Department.
Hello, everyone. I am the representative for the State Department of Fish and Game, and our job as a State Department is to protect fish and wildlife, and we care about the maintenance of the ecosystem of the Long River area. We're also very concerned about the fauna of the area and the fish of the river. So those are our main goals today, and we hope that our negotiation can bring us to a good decision for all of us.
All right, thank you very much. And then the Environmental Recreation Committee.
Yes, I'm here representing the local environmental recreation groups, which we have formed a coalition. We're concerned about the declining fish population and increasing obstacles for people who enjoy the outdoors in terms of swimming, wildlife, hiking, camping, canoeing, etc. So we're basically going to argue that any water management or land use planning that goes on must take into account the public interest. Otherwise, we will challenge it. And all restrictive measures on the grounds of the public interest will not be something we can support. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Then the tribes.
Hi, I'm here for the tribes. Our top priority is ensuring that our fishing activities are not affected by the wind farm and that everything is going as planned, that we are ensuring that our fish life and our wildlife is all taken care of, ensuring that there's nothing going on, that our fish not migrate towards other areas, and that we want to keep our the sea as well as possible.
All right, thank you very much. And then last but certainly not least, the governor's special assistant.
Sorry, and hello everybody. I'm the governor's special assistant. I'm also representing the Department of Natural Resources. And as a member of the government, I'll have to support the most voted options, the most voted proposals. And of course, my opinion, I will support anything that is most likely to be politically acceptable. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. I believe we have a clear image of what everybody's goals are. So I propose that we move now to the issues at hand. I will take it that everybody knows what 4 issues we'll be talking about today. Let's just briefly look over them. Issue 1 is our in-stream flow goals. Issue 2, strategies for increasing the in-stream flow goals. Issue 3 is future development, and issue 4 is enforcement. So let's just start at issue 1. We have 3 options to choose from today. Option 1 is to maintain and enhance the water supply. Option 2 is to protect subsistence fishery. And option 3 is to restore the ecosystem to ensure a robust fishery. Now, to start off with, are there any groups who would like to come out and say, well, this option is a clear and present refusal for us? Yes, the State Department.
Okay, so for us, for me as a representative of the State Department of Fish and Game, option 1 is unacceptable because we think that we are, as I said earlier, really concerned about the ecosystem and flora and fauna of the ecosystem. And so we think that this option would actually go against that and would not contribute to finding an agreement on how to protect the ecosystem and other interests. But yeah, it would especially damage it. So.
All right, thank you very much. We'll take that with us in our notes. Anyone else who would like to speak on this right now, or shall we move on to issue 2? All right, I will take your silence. Oh, sorry, environmental recreation, yes.
For issue 1, the 2 that we could compromise and have find acceptable is option 2 and option 3.
All right, thank you very much. If it looks like I'm looking down a lot, it's because I'm taking notes. All right, then I propose we move on for now to issue 2, strategies for increasing in-stream flows. Again, we have 4 options here. Option 1, water demand management. Option 2, new storage in off-stream surface impoundment. Option 3, market mechanisms. And option 4, restrictions. Again, let's just open the floor. Is there any party who has a clear and solid veto on one of these options? For the representative of the Environmental Recreation Coalition, do you already have something to say, or is this your previous raised hand? I will take that it is your previous raised hand. Then, to open up the floor, is there anyone who would like to jump in and say this is a clear veto from our institution? Yes, the governor's assistant.
Okay, okay. Just to start the contributions, the discussions. This is not my top priority, but it's an important one since we are public interest representative. So I will vote for option 1 on issue 2, water demand management. But of course, you can negotiate for a most politically acceptable option. But this is my first vote, first choice.
All right, sorry, could you repeat? You were voting for option?
My vote is for option 1.
Option 1, all right.
The one,
Yep.
issue 2.
Yes. Thank you. The State Department has an answer, I see.
Yes, I would really rather not vote for option 1. My preferred option would be option 3, which is the best way to manage the water use in the river. I would be more willing to negotiate over option 2 than 1. So if that can be a way to an agreement, that could be possible. But yeah, preferred 1 would be option 3.
All right, thank you very much. The Environmental Recreation Committee, what do you have to say?
We would have a problem with option 1 and 4, actually. However, we're willing to negotiate on 2 or 3.
Yes, thank you very much. The tribes.
We have also a problem with question with 1, and we would like to negotiate for 2 or 3, leaning more towards 3, with the possibility for 2.
Yes, thank you very much. The irrigators.
Yeah, our biggest concern would be if we pursued option 4. Our preference goes to option 1 or 2, and then 3, depending on other factors, would be acceptable.
All right, thank you very much. I think that was everyone. I hope I'm not forgetting anyone. If so, speak up now. If not, let's move on to issue 3, future development. Here we have only 2 options, so, nice. First option, condition all future projects, and option 2 is screen all future projects. Anyone who would like to open the discussion? All right, I see no pressing concerns. Oh, yeah, to the governor's special assistant.
Yeah, again, just to motivate the discussion, I will vote for option 2, so screen all future projects. Of course, as a government, we are interested in keeping all the possibilities to guarantee the jobs and growth the economy. So that's my first choice. But again, I am open to hear your thoughts about the other options. Maybe can negotiate about option 1, of course. That's it.
All right, thank you very much. Clear preference for option 2. Anyone else? Yes, the Environmental Recreation Committee.
We definitely support the governor on option 2, but we're open for negotiation to option 1.
Yes, the irrigators.
Yes, we have a preference for option 2 over option 1.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, it's nice that everyone's preferences so far align. The tribes.
We have preference over 1 and negotiation for 2.
All right, thank you very much. Yes. Goed mijn notitie zetten. All right. Then did I miss anyone? Yes, does the State Department have a clear preference or either or?
We have a preference for option 1, like the tribe, we're open for negotiation, but that would be better, option 1.
All right, well, good to hear that everyone's open for negotiations. That's why we're here. But then I believe I heard from everyone, so let's move on to issue 4, enforcement. Now, 3 options have been made available. The first option being federal enforcement. The second option being state enforcement with local commission, and the third option being local voluntary agreement to protect in-stream flow. Would anyone like to open the discussion? Yes, the State Department.
Yes, let's not vote.
I'm sorry, you're still muted. I couldn't make it out.
Yeah, sorry, can I speak in a little bit? There's some noise.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yes, the irrigators. Irrigation, you're still on mute.
Sorry, we have a very strong preference for option 3. Local agreements have been the way that the farmers I'm representing have worked and been able to deal with problems that have presented themselves, and they are strongly inclined to continue doing so.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else who wants to jump in? Yes, the Environmental Recreation Committee.
We agree with the irrigators for option 3, but we also support option 2. So we can compromise to option 2 if but we do support the irrigators.
Yes, the Governor's Special Assistant.
Yeah, just could you confirm to me what's the option 1 in option 2?
Yes, of course. Option 1 is federal enforcement, and option 2 is state enforcement with the local commission.
Okay, perfect. So I was just inverting the options, but now it's clear, and thank you. And no, I'll go for option 2, of course, since I'm a representative of the state government. So option 1 is kind of unacceptable for me because it's federal. So I don't want to involve the federal government in the negotiation. We want to give as a state government, we want to give full support to this proposal. So that's my vote. It goes for option 2.
All right, thank you very much. The tribes.
The tribe would also like to resonate with option 2 and 1 with the possibility and is up for negotiation.
All right, thank you very much. Then to circle back, State Department, are you open for communication, or is it still
Yes.
difficult?
We are pretty open about this issue. It is not a top priority for us to have any specific level, but what we really don't want is to have to rely on solely voluntary agreements. We would like to see stable and set rules.
All right, thank you very much. Okay. All right, so right now, we made a first pass on these issues. I am going to quickly look them over in my notes, see if we can find a provisional package, which I will relay to you, and then see if we can come to a consensus together. Yes, is that okay for everyone? Because then on, let's just go down the list. Yes, for issue 1, option 1 was unacceptable for the State Department of Fish and Game. So, are there any parties that are aggrieved when we strike that from the list? No? All right. Then we're down to, yes, the governor.
Yeah, actually, it was it's not a top priority issue for me, but it would be my first choice. But I can agree if we skip this, since it's unacceptable for another stakeholders. So okay, and I agree if we skip this from the voting.
All right. So for now, let's recognize that the governor is making concessions to the State Department, and for now, move on. Then we have 2 options open, option 2 and option 3. Yes, the environmental recreation group states that 2 and 3 are okay. Is that still the case?
Mhm.
All right. Is there any party with a clear preference for either 2 or 3? Yes, irrigation.
Our preference would go to option 2, but we are open to option 3 under certain circumstances.
All right, State Department, what is your answer to this?
We have a preference for option 3. We can go with option 2, but only at some conditions. And these conditions are that this option has to be regulated for the in-stream flow and for the safety of the fish in the river. There have
right.
to be guarantees.
All right, the tribes, how do you respond?
We would like to also go with option 3, but we could also negotiate with this for option 2, underlining the same circumstances that the State Department would like.
All right, then if you could clearly outline these concerns so that the irrigators could respond.
Yes, this ensured is it to ensure that our fish safety, that the ecosystem is kept the same.
All right. Irrigators, how do you stand on the ecosystem? Is this something you can acquiesce later down the line, or is that difficult?
No, it's certainly possible, but well, it would have to see on the other issues whether or not it's feasible.
All right. Then let's for now say that option 2 is our answer for now and move down the line. Is this okay for everyone? All right. I see no objections, so I take that as a point to move on. Then option issue 2, the strategies for increasing in-stream flow. So we have a decent bit of preference here. With a clear veto from the irrigators for option 4. And the tribes vetoing option 1, if I remember correct. So are there any parties who are already seeing problems with vetoing options 1 and 4? All right.
We would
Nice.
not support 4.
Yes. So, all right, then for now, I propose we strike 1 and 4 as options and move forward looking at options 2 and 3. Is that okay with everyone? Then let's
Okay.
move on. Are there any strong proponents for either option 2 or option 3? Yes, the State Department.
Yes, also in this case, we would rather have option 3. We think that the storage impoundment will be disruptive to the natural ecosystem of the area. And the conditions for for negotiating option 2 are sort of the same that we talked about for issue 1. So fish passage has to be guaranteed, and in-stream rights have to be guaranteed. So we could negotiate, for example, about the importance and size of the impound storage facility, but we prefer option 3.
All right, clear. Anyone else? Yes, irrigators.
Yeah, our strong preference would go to option 2. We could only really accept option 3 under certain terms. And yeah, but that would be the only way really to do justice to the irrigators.
All right. 2 opposing preferences, but I'm sure we can work this out. State Department.
May I ask what the conditions are for the irrigators for option 3?
Irrigators, could you elaborate?
We could accept pursuing option 3 if for issue 4 we had some guarantee that local voluntary agreements would be pursued over either federal or state enforcement.
Yes, the Environmental Recreation Coalition.
Yeah, we're concerned about this particular option because we're worried that there's no guarantee that the agreement will be enforceable. So we just want to say that we can compromise, but we want to make sure that this option 2 would be better for us because the state would clearly enforce the protection of our recreational rights.
I'm sorry, now you're talking about enforcement, right?
Mhm.
Yes, all right. All right, good to know. State Department.
Yeah, group. I agree with the Environmental Recreation Coalition that we would like to see some actual enforcement from like that is stable, not voluntary agreement. So that is kind of a hard condition for us to negotiate personally. We can try to find a middle ground, I guess, and listen to other opinions about it.
All right, good. I'll take that notes. Yes, anyone else like to weigh in? And just to ask, to the Environment Recreational Committee, do you have a preference on issue 2?
We can go on issue 2 with 2 or 3. We're bringing up
right.
enforcement just for into the
Yeah.
future, what we're
Right,
what
yeah.
we'll be willing to trade.
I understand. All right, because right now we are stuck with one strong preference for 3 and one strong preference for 2, with both parties saying they're open to negotiation. So let's try, this is then mainly to the irrigators and the State Department for now, how we know how the irrigators could come to 3. Let's turn it around. State Department, how would you be willing to come to option 2?
We would be willing to accept option 2 only if fish passage was ensured, if certain water levels were still guaranteed. So as I said earlier, we might negotiate about the size of this new storage impoundment facility and how much that would disrupt the ecosystem of the river. I think the storage facility that was proposed was about for 50 million cubic meters of water, and that is a big quantity. Maybe a smaller impact on the river would be something that we would accept. And yeah, we would like to see fish remain safe and the environment remain safe.
Okay. Irrigators, do you have a response to this?
Yeah, I think one of the issues right now with the storage facilities is that it would be largely shared with the water supply group who aren't here today, but I'm sure that given its yeah, I'm sure there's room for negotiation there and some sort of regulation for safe passage. But yeah, option 2 would still need to be pursued.
All right. We haven't heard so far from either the governor's special assistant or the tribes. Do any of you have a preference? Yes, the tribes.
We have a preference over option 3 as but we will be, we do have some negotiation for option 2. The only reason that we do that is because of the destructiveness to our ecosystem that option 2 has compared to option 3, where it would be safer for all the fish and the wildlife.
All right. Thank you very much. That means we now have 2 preferences for option 3. Could we move forward with option 3 with the addendum that we keep in mind the wishes of the irrigators? Is that acceptable for everyone? Yes, State Department.
Well, actually, the wish of the irrigator was to have voluntary involvement, if I remember correctly, and that's something that we really would not like to see because it really conditions the way that agreements are implemented. So I would personally prefer negotiating over option 2 rather than getting option 3 with the voluntary agreement, even though I still have a preference for option 3. So it also depends on whether the irrigators are willing to change their position about the voluntary involvement.
All right, irrigators, a response, please.
Yeah, our acceptance of option 3 is very much contingent on issue 4 also going to option 3. For issue 2, we can really only realistically see ourselves pursuing option 1 or 2. And since option 1 is off the table, option 2 is really our only recourse.
All right. Then I propose that for now we move forward with option 2. If that is for now the most acceptable for everyone, and then keep in the back of our heads that this will merit further negotiation at later points. Is that okay for everyone? All right. Let's see. Okay, then to issue 3. Future development. There were some preferences here, but no hard limits, if I remembered. Anyone want to start off the negotiation? Yes, the State Department.
Especially if we do accept option 2 for issue 2, so the impound storage facility,
Yes.
then we would really like to see future projects being conditioned, so option 1, because that would guarantee that the agreements taken in issue 2 would be respected.
All right. Any party with a problem with this? Yes, environmental recreation.
We support the State Department. We support exactly what she said.
All right. Anyone else? Yes, the tribes.
We are also supporting with the State Department.
All right. Claire, anyone opposing? Because otherwise, I propose we move forward with option 1. All right. Then we'll move forward with option 1. Then lastly, enforcement. Up, back to the other side. Yeah, we have a veto from the governor's seat for option 1, so no federal enforcement. And there was a strong preference, I believe, for option 2 from at least the State Department. Yeah, there was a veto for option 3 from the State Department. So that would in fact leave us with option 2. Are there any opponents for option 2? Keeping in mind that on issue 2, this was very much seeded with the hope that strong enforcement would be possible. All right, I see no opponents so far, so I will take that as a message that people are okay with option 2. That would leave us with a final package of option 2 for issue 1, option 2 for issue 2, option 1 for issue 3, and option 2 for issue 4. Is this in agreement for all parties? All right. I hear no one opposing, so I will take your silence as acceptance, and I would like to congratulate you all for finding a compromise that we could all live with.
Ah,
Thank you very much.
so your team, this team got unanimous vote, correct?
Yes.
On all the issues.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay, very good. And let me tell you a couple things. Let's do a debrief. There were only 2 pathways to get unanimity on this issue, and you found one of the 2. You found one of the 2, and that's tough because like we were missing people, and we, but it worked. You found it, Louis and team. And I think there's a couple of things you need to take away from this. First, I think, Louis, you took this approach, and so did all of us. We knew what we could not accept, and we knew what we wanted to maximize. So we had the ceiling and the floor. It's the zone of agreement that when we start saying, hey, I can agree with you if I can get this over here. You heard people saying that, even when it was on a different issue. Okay, because then we can start compromising. And it is that zone of agreement and compromise that is so missing in our sustainability projects and actually in the US right now in our entire government. So this was a really good example, this game, of how you can trade things and how you might not maximize, but at least what will happen is you won't get the unacceptable. So we all had to compromise. Nobody got everything that they wanted. In fact, we had to compromise to get, what was in that zone of agreement. The other thing I want to mention is that you were all very prepared. You knew exactly, you had read the materials and the instructions. Here, you did a great job leading, and you led in this is a second language, correct, for you? Right?
Yes,
You're
my
from
first language is Dutch.
Yeah, so you're from the Netherlands and you did an outstanding job. Everyone else too, I think we all kind of came in here, knew what we wanted to get, and you found unanimity. You found it, which was amazing because there's only two routes. The other thing is process. The other message here is process. And Luz, I think you did a good job. There's a lot of ways that you could have processed these votes, and you'll see that. I'm going to compile the other recordings, and you'll see what we've had 2 other teams before you this morning, and you'll see what the other teams did, and they each took different approaches. And so that was very good, Lewis, how you structured it and how everyone really cooperated. Process is important so that everyone gets a vote, they can buy in, they can compromise, even if they didn't maximize their output. So very good, very good. Any questions, guys? I'm going to compile these and send them both to the Netherlands and to Dr. Eduardo, who's here today, so that you have access to them. My students will be doing a discussion board on them, comparing, because I think you get to see a lot of information of how different approaches and different, and every game that we've played about 40 now, Dr. Eduardo and I, is different. Like the team goes different routes. Dr. Eduardo, chime in here.
Yeah, oh, thank you. Yeah, it was nice, very nice game, very smooth. So congratulations to the mediator. You very smooth approach and making everybody talking. And well, when I assumed the governor assistant role, I try to be a bit more open, to be open to the others to choose. So the mediator got it at the right moment. So it was very good. There's this kind of synchronicity I was not expecting. So it was very good, a very nice game. And yeah, and in fact, we everyone was concerned and studied about the contents and was prepared to negotiate. So it was a very good team. And nice to meet you all. Thank you for your engagement. And that's it. Great.
Yeah, you guys did a great job. And it's nice because, we read about these kinds of negotiations, but until you get in a simulation where you start to see what has to happen, I think you can understand better why these very important projects get stalled in the practical world, in the real world. And it's when people don't want to, kind of do that cognitive flexibility and trading, they get stuck, polarized, and then we don't get the projects we need on the environment and sustainability. So it's a nice lesson of how stakeholders interact. And let me say, you were within time. I gave you an extra 5 minutes because we did start late because we were waiting, and you were right on time. This team was right on time. So very good, guys. Very good. Anything, students, you want to say something? How did you feel about the game?
I think the State Department wants you to
Can I? Yeah, I haven't put my name again. Yeah. Yeah, no, I really liked it. I was actually surprised that we managed to find an agreement like on everything. I took part in the pilot last year actually in the Netherlands, and back then we had more time. And yeah, I think I don't know, I think maybe it would be nice to have a bit more time because back then there was a great discussion about a lot of the issues. We had time to actually get into like a negotiation, like a hard negotiation, and just I think it was a bit more realistic of how the process is in real life. This was also really nice, but it felt easier. So yeah. So I don't know, maybe more time, but yeah, it was really nice.
Or maybe State Department, because we get stalemates, you know, when we have like grandstanding by these different groups, maybe pushing to a time limit to get them to focus on what is the
That's
real
also something.
decision making going on instead of the grandstanding.
That's
maybe
also
right, you can, but I think it's more enriched when you get, you know, in fact, this is a Harvard game that gets played for months, actually. And I think it's more enriching and you get to know each other better. However, they don't always get to a decision, right? And our goal is to get these very important projects on the environment and sustainability decided upon and to move forward. And in the US, it's very difficult. It's the arguing that goes on. And at the end of the day, they never come to an agreement. They spend a lot of time, you know, making their positions known and arguing, but they don't get to the heart of the decision making because they're stuck in their positions. And so it kind of, you know, makes me think maybe we should cut to the chase and get these people to focus on the real target, and that is the project, right? That's our experience in the US, especially right now.
I could say that this is in general, this is a world issue. I mean, any democracy is the same philosophical conflict. I mean, the more you discuss, the less decisions you get in the end, because the discussion never ends. So we need to balance it. Of course, it would be nice to have, for example, more 2 or 3 hour discussion, but you know, we have a lot of teams, we have a large number of students, and everyone has their own classes and disciplines, and just for being during an hour discussing these, and for me it's also it's amazing. So, and remember, we are in different continents, different time zones, 3 or 4, I think, I'm not sure now, but just for an hour to have the opportunity to talk to you and about everything these, I mean, that's a valid experience, at least for me.
Leiden, State Department, you participated in Leiden. I was out there last year, actually, when you had just finished the game. Did you get to unanimous decision making?
Actually, I didn't participate in the actual game. I participated in the pilot because I'm not at Leiden University. I'm the intern with
Okay.
yeah. We did get to an agreement eventually on all 4 issues, and actually what I found interesting about having more time was that on one of them, maybe actually 2, we came up with alternatives that we had thought about. So like of course I do think that there has to be a set limit to take a decision, because otherwise then you just keep discussing. But yeah, I guess the word that Dr. Eduardo said, balance, is like the key, like balance between discussion and like having the set time frame. But
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, thank you all. I will be compiling and sending to Dr. Fazzi, you know, the links for the Leiden professors, so that you can take a look at if you want to analyze across teams. Every team's different. They may come up with votes, but every team is different. Right now, we have one more team left. You're the only team that came up on all 4 issues with unanimous. All the others, nobody had disagreement to the point of lacking majority. They all had at least a majority, and a couple got unanimous on a couple issues. But you're the only team so far that has gotten unanimous on all 4 issues. So good job. You traded. You came in here ready to horse trade and to, you know, and to compromise and to get what you needed. That's good. Alrighty, guys. Take care, and thanks for participating.
Thank you. It was
Thank
fun.
you. Bye.
Thank you. It was fun.
Thank
Thank
you, guys.
you. Bye bye.
Have a good
Thank you.
whatever time it is there.
Yeah.